right now. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hey, listen up, everybody. We are about to dive deep into a story that's going to have you on the edge of your seats because we're talking about faith tested and obedience put to the ultimate challenge. Now, we've all heard of Abraham and his son Isaac, but do you really know what went down on that mountain in Moriah? Hey, buckle up because we're about to take a journey through the heart of obedience and the cost it demands. Now, I've been around the block a few times. I've read my fair share of the good book, but let me tell you something about this story of Abraham and Isaac. It is more than just words on page, folks. It's a testament to the power of faith, the depth of obedience, and the cost that it can exact. Now, I want you to picture this. I want you to picture this. Abraham, we're talking about a man who's been waiting on a promise for years. Finally, he's given a son in his old age, Isaac, the joy of his life, the fulfillment of God's word. But then, out of the blue, God decides that he's going to put Abraham to the test. Now, here's what he says. He says, I want you to take your son, take your only son, and I want you to offer him up as a sacrifice. Now, if that ain't a gut punch right there, y'all, I don't know what it is. But here's the thing, okay? Abraham, he doesn't hesitate. He doesn't question. He just obeys. And he packs up his things. He gathers his son, and then he heads up that mountain. All the while, he's praying that God will provide. And let me tell you, it's not an easy journey because this thing is filled with tears, it's filled with trembling, it's filled with doubt creeping in at every turn. But still, Abraham, he presses on because he knows that obedience, no matter the cost, it is the only way forward. And let me tell you something about the cost of more, the cost of more. Let me tell you, because we're diving into one of the most powerful stories from the Holy Scriptures right here. And this is the story of Abraham and Sarah. Now, let me just set the stage for you right here. We're talking about a couple. They have been waiting for this promise to come. They have been waiting for this thing to come to fruition, right? Now, Sarah, she's been carrying the weight of barrenness for years, while Abraham, he's been holding on to a promise that he's going to father multitudes. And we ain't just talking about just a couple of kids here, okay? We're talking about descendants as numerous as all the stars in the sky. Now picture this. Sarah, 90 years old. Abraham, he's still holding on to that promise. He's still believing it's possible. And then, bam, Isaac comes into the picture. Now, he's not just any child. He is the joy. He is the fulfillment of their hopes and their dreams. But can you imagine the faith it took for these two to believe in something that's so grand? That's what we call obedience. It's about trusting in something bigger than yourself, even when the odds seem impossible. So next time you're facing a challenge, my friend, I want you to remember Abraham and Sarah. I want you to remember that sometimes the cost of more is faith, and it's obedience, and it's believing in the promises of the Most High. And so, yeah, we're diving into the story of Abraham and his miracle son up on that mountain, Moriah. But now let me tell you this. It is one of the most gut-wrenching tales you'll find in the Old Testament. Now, as a father myself, my first instinct is always to protect my children, to shield my children from any harm that might come their way, from holding their hands when they're little, making sure they're safe crossing those roads, to reminding them, hey, drive carefully as they grow older. See, it's all about keeping them safe, keeping them sound. Now, I know I ain't alone in this. Come on now. I know I ain't alone in this because every parent out there, hey, you guys know what it's like to have your prayer life on overdrive thanks to your kids. Come on. But here's where it gets real right here. Now, I want you to imagine being in Abraham's shoes when the good Lord himself asks the unthinkable of you. And I'm talking about being asked to sacrifice your own flesh and blood, your miracle child, the very fulfillment of God's promise. Now, as a dad, I can't even begin to wrap my head around that kind of test of faith. See, my loyalty, my commitment, it is always to my family. And I reckon that's the same for many of you out there. So when God asked Abraham to do the unimaginable, I mean, it wasn't just a test of faith. This was a test right here of love. This was a test of loyalty. I mean, we're talking everything that makes us who we are as parents. And let me tell you, folks, that's a lesson that we can all take to heart, all of us, because sometimes the greatest sacrifices, they're going to come from the deepest love. And Abraham's story, it's a testament to that truth. And so we're talking Genesis chapter 22 from verses 1 through 8. Genesis chapter 22 from verses 1 through 8. And this is where God decides to put Abraham through the ultimate test. Now picture this. God, he calls out Abraham, and Abraham's like, here I am, Lord, what's up? And then bam, God drops the bombshell. And he says, Abraham, I need to take your son. I need you to take your son, your only son, Isaac, the one you love. And I want you to head over to Moriah. And oh yeah, you're gonna offer him up as a burnt offering. Now, if that don't make your heart skip a beat, I don't know what will. But hey, get this, because Abraham, he doesn't hesitate. I mean, he's up at the crack of dawn, saddles up his donkey, grabs his boy Isaac, and off they go. And after 3 long days of travel, Abraham sees that place from afar. Now, here's the kicker. He turns to his boys and he says, hey, y'all stay here with the donkey. Me and the boy, we're going to go worship and we'll be back. We will be back. Now, did you catch that? He says, we will be back. That's faith right there. That's faith. And so they get to the spot, and Isaac, being the observant lad that he is, he's like, hold up, Dad, hold up. We got the fire, and I see we've got the wood. But where's the lamb for the offering? And Abraham, in his wisdom, he says, son, don't you worry. God, he will provide the lamb. Now, that's what I call trust. Trusting that even in the midst of the most impossible situations, God's got a plan. And sure enough, just as Abraham is about to lay it all down on the line, God steps in and provides the sacrifice. Talk about a close call. But that, my friends, that's the power of faith and obedience. Even when it seems like the whole world is against you, God's got your back. And that's a truth that you can take to the bank right there. Now, we all know how the story unfolds. But have you ever stopped to really think about this? Think about those moments between the sacrifice and the provision. Let me say that again. We all know how it unfolds, right? But have you ever stopped and just thought about those moments that are between the sacrifice and the provision? Those moments right there. See, I'm talking about obedience, folks. And let me tell you, Abraham, he wasn't exactly skipping up that mountain with joy in his heart, okay? Nah, not at all. He was trembling, tears streaming down his face, sweat dripping on his brow. I mean, he's praying like he never prayed before. He's hoping against hope, y'all, that this wasn't the moment where God would pull the rug out from under him. I mean, can you imagine? that kind of pressure, that kind of anguish, but still, he kept on walking. He kept walking step by step, trusting in the one who promised. Now, picture this scene, folks. Picture this scene right here. Isaac, innocent and confused. Now, he's looking up at his father and he's asking, Daddy, where is the lamb? Daddy, where is the lamb? And Abraham, now his voice is steady, but his heart is breaking. And he says, son, don't you worry. Don't you worry, because God himself, he will provide the lamb. That right there, folks, that's faith talk. That is faith talking. But Abraham, he didn't just stop at those words. Oh no, because the scriptures tells us that he bound his son. He laid that wood around his son, placed his son on the altar, and then raised his hand to slay his own flesh and blood. And that's obedience, folks. That's obedience. Let me tell you, it comes at a cost. It comes at a cost. You see, obedience, it ain't always easy. It ain't always going to be convenient, but it's necessary. See, it's about trusting even when it hurts, even when it seems impossible. And Abraham, oh, Abraham, he showed us what true obedience looks like. So the next time you're facing a mountain of your own, I want you to remember Abraham's journey. Remember Abraham's journey. Remember that obedience. I want you to remember it, because that obedience right there, it might be costly, but the rewards, oh, let me tell you, they are worth it. They are worth it. So my friends, as we wrap up this journey through the trials of faith and the tests of obedience, let me leave you with this. When life throws you a curveball, when God asks the unthinkable of you, I want you to remember Abraham. I want you to remember his unwavering trust, his unyielding obedience. And I want you to know that no matter how dark the road may seem, there is always light at the end of the tunnel. So you keep that faith, my friend. You keep the faith. You keep pressing forward. And I want you to always remember obedience. Yeah, it may be costly, but the rewards, oh, they are worth it. They are worth it. Trust me. And that's my time. That is my time. And what about this? What a ship. What a ship. What a ship. What a fellowship. The gospel fellowship. I'm TK Washington, and you, my friends, have been crusading for Christ. And you already know what to do. Let's get it.